We're live, so the session has started. Okay, so as I said, I'm just going to repeat a couple of things I said for those who have, I think someone has joined us online?
Yeah.
Yay. So my name is Ailish O'Regan. This is Kieran O'Flaherty, who's a graduate from the course. I'm just going to give a very quick outline about the course. I'm trying not to use too much jargon, come on in, and try not to overwhelm you with subjects of the list of subjects that you'll do. But so there's one slide in here that might be a bit dense. So the program is delivered by the Centre for Adult Learning and Professional Development within NUI Galway, and that's our speciality is dealing with online and blended learning courses and dealing with adult learners. So we try to design our courses to meet the needs of mature students who have work and family commitments. So just to give you an overview, I'm going to go through the content, your degree pathway, what learning online is like, what tools you'll be using for learning, opportunities and progression routes. And I'm just going to talk about that very briefly, and Kieran will probably have more to add to that. Now, Kieran is going to talk to you about his experience and how he balanced work, family, study, and I think that's probably a concern for all of you that are here. And then we're going to finish off with questions and answers. I could imagine through the presentation so just jot things down so you can answer them at the end is probably the easiest way. So firstly, the Part-Time BCom is a 4-year flexible degree program, and it's a broad-based business program. So you cover every area of business. You'll be taught by lecturers who research in the area that they're teaching, and they will show you how to apply the theory in a work scenario, in a real-life scenario. Just to give you, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, that's Siri. Just to give you an idea of the part-time program and the full-time program are equivalent in that they're the same level and you complete the same number of credits. So from an employer's point of view, it's just as valuable. There are variations. Firstly, the delivery methodology. The full-time program is delivered on campus, the part-time program is delivered online. The online program doesn't offer specialisms, where the full-time program you would come in and within the first 2 years you do a broad base of every subject area, and then in your final year you focus on one of those areas. The part-time program is just broad based across all business areas. In your final year you do have the option to complete 2 optional subjects. So say if you had a particular interest in business information systems, you can choose those subjects, but they're the main variations. For anyone, this is what I would recommend, for anyone who's considering pursuing accountancy, this isn't the fastest route, and you're not going to get the same amount of exemptions you get from the full-time program. So if your option is to become an accountant, I think there are faster routes than this to do it. Okay, generally this program is, the people who come into this program have a keen interest in management, in marketing, in business information systems, that want to progress their career. There's only about 1 or 2 students who have graduated from the last cycle who have gone on to do accountancy. And in addition to the subject areas that you'll cover, you'll also develop skills that are really relevant in the workplace, and those are like critical thinking and analytical skills, how to manage your time, how to manage your tasks in a time constraint, how to solve problems, how to make decisions. And these are attributes that we went out to employers to find out what do they need within employees, and these are the soft skills that they said were really important. It's great for someone to come out with a first-class honour in a subject, but if they don't have the ability to think critically or make decisions, their value is less to the employer. Being able to write a report, conduct research, to communicate effectively, both orally and written, in an online environment and in a face-to-face environment, and to be digital literate, to be literate in a digital sense, in that you can use all the IT software and skills to add to your add to your skill set within the business environment. Now, this is a bit of a scary slide, and when I wrote it, I was thinking this is going to be on a very big screen, but because we're recording this in Collaborate Ultra, it's not as big as I'd like it to be. And I don't want you to be overwhelmed by the content of what you're seeing, but I wanted to give you an idea of the areas that you cover. So you do accountancy, financial and management, you'll cover taxation, you look at business information systems within the workplace, economics from the microeconomics to the macroeconomics, how the price is set for something, how supply and demand are balanced, the global economy, the effect of Brexit on the current economy, management, contemporary management thought, organizational psychology and analysis, marketing, foundations of marketing thought, and research analytics within marketing. I won't go into every subject. You also cover maths and stats. And you might notice, although, sorry, Bonnie, can I go back? You might notice, thank you, in the fourth year of the subjects are italics. Now I know it's really small. It's just to highlight that the program runs in 2-year cycles. And what we try to do is keep the content as relevant to the business environment. So the modules that are currently written there for fourth year, there will be a change. You will have those subject areas, but it might not be those modules because in 4 years' time, it may be different. So nothing here is set in stone, just to mention that. Thank you. So online learning, I'm going to circulate some module packs, and even though in your day you received module packs with for each subject, if you'd give that to you, yeah. So you receive a pack like this for every subject, which is setting out the objectives of the subject, how it's going to be assessed, what you should know at the end of it. Now these don't relate to all these modules. It mentions face-to-face workshops, but in yours you'll have an equivalent of 8 to 10 lectures for a 5-credit module. And a 5-credit module is generally delivered across one semester. That could be September to December or January to March or April. Some maths and stats are delivered over a longer period of time. The lectures are asynchronous, which means that you don't have to be online the same time as your lecture. They'll be recorded, and they're delivered in a variety of ways. So subjects like management and marketing will use podcasts, so it's a voice recording, and you'll get a PowerPoint presentation to go with it that you'll download. You can listen, pause, replay. You can listen while you're driving, cycling, walking. It's just very flexible. For other subjects, they'll use video more, or what we call screencasts. And screencasts is where it's a video of the screen, of the lecture screen, and it might be, say, for accounting, a trading and profit and loss account. And your lecturer will be talking you through how you balance the account. And then you have the ability to replay that, to pause it, to work through it with you. And generally each lecture you'll be given a week to complete something within it, to listen, and maybe there'll be an online activity to go with it. You'll also have discussion forums. Do you know what I mean when I say a discussion forum? Yeah, so an online chat room with your lecturer and with other students, and they're generally topic based. So say in economics, it could be, as I said, price. So it could be the price of butter, or you might have to work out a problem. So you can post your queries there. Generally, other students will answer your questions, and if anyone is going off track, the lecturer will come in and go, that's an interesting point, but you need to look at it from this perspective. So there's lots of support, not just through the lecture, but also through peers. Your lecture within each module is also available online for 2 hours of support. And that, again, in some subjects, they might say, let's have a live chat. And that in accountancy, some of the lecturers want to do it that way. So you can get instant feedback, but everything is recorded. As I said before, the majority of your modules are assessed by continual assessment. So that's assignments as you go. So that's changed from when you were doing the course. We're trying to move away from totally based on exams. But there are subjects that still have exams, and I'll talk about that on the next slide. So your assessment could include having to balance an account. So you might have to work out as I said, a trading profit and loss account, submit it in an Excel document, and you submit it through what we call Blackboard, which we're recording now. It's the online learning environment. Other kinds of assignments include report writing, solving equations, essays, group projects, and online tests. So group projects, some people love working in groups, other people hate them, but they're an integral part of your study because within a business environment, you're always going to have to work in a group, whether it be virtually or within a face-to-face environment. So it's very important that you develop these skills throughout your degree. So I've just put in an example of what an assessment within a module might look like. So in this example, it's marketing management, which used to be called, the gaming module that you did.
Backpack, yeah.
Yeah. So in this module, students work in groups online, and they have to develop a marketing plan for a backpack. And they decide whether it's going to be cheap as chips backpack, or is it going to be differentiated in some way? What kind of marketing strategy? And they compete with each other online.
Advertise and all that kind of stuff. And every week you get a result.
Yeah.
And then you change your strategy if it's not going well or not.
So it's one of the most interesting modules on the course, for what I think anyway. Then you also have MCQs, which are multiple choice questions, and they are generally, it's very much a lower end thinking of in the beginning when you're trying to remember terminologies. It reinforces your learning. It's 20% allocated to that, which usually would probably be about 4 tests throughout the semester. Assignment 3, practice marketing simulation game, as we just mentioned, and assignment 4, critical reflection report, and that would be reflecting on the whole process of the simulation game.
Chatting and doing.
Multitasking. This is Bonnie Long, our technology expert within adult education, and she's helping out here. So as I said, the program is moving away from written exams, but in certain subjects we still have to include written examinations, and they're mainly in accountancy and numeracy subjects, and that's for the benefit of if you wanted to go on into the area of accounting. If you wanted to gain exemptions, you're only entitled to exemptions if you've completed a written examination. So what that would look like for you, and as I said, this might change slightly, but if you were coming in first year, you would have 3 sit-down exams where you have to come into the university. One would be at Christmas in December. That would be financial accounting. The second would be in the summer sitting, and that would be management accounting, and the third is a maths exam. In the second year, you'd have another accounting exam, and I think, off the top of my head, I think that takes place in the summer. In third year, statistics, when you were doing the course, was third year. It moved back to second year, and now we're moving it back to third year. So there will be 1 exam for that. And in final year, taxation will have an exam too. At Christmas, yeah. Also, I mentioned before that you have 2 optional subjects that you complete in final year. And one of the subjects is negotiation skills. And that's actually a subject that you would attend campus. It's a weekend workshop. And it teaches you how to negotiate, how to get to yes. And you work in groups over 2 to 3 days. In that, there is a written exam, and it's on the final afternoon of the workshop. So just to highlight again, I'm saying there, note that the curriculum is revised regularly and updated. So this information is a guiding light. Okay, so I just put this in there, Bloom's taxonomy of learning objectives. Now, this probably won't make sense to you, but in the module packs that I handed around, that you'll see that every unit, the module overview starts with learning objectives of setting out what you're going to learn. So this is how a lecture, before you start a subject in September, the lecturers are designing the content now, but very much starting with what is it exactly that you're going to learn, and how are we going to ensure that you achieve that learning by the end of the unit. So this is the taxonomy that they use to guide that learning. So over a 12-week period, you start by building your knowledge in the subject area, and then you move on from knowledge, just understanding, to comprehension of understanding the subject more. And then by week 4 or 5, then you're beginning to go into more higher order thinking of deeper learning, where you're learning how to apply the knowledge, how you analyze, synthesis, evaluation, and creating. So at the higher end of students who can be creative with knowledge, do you agree with it?
Yeah.
Generally, when you get to that point, is that you understand the information, you know how to apply it, and then you can add your own experience to it, or your own understanding after that. So it just kind of gives you, it's not random, there's a very much a clear design to bring your learning to the full understanding in 12 weeks. Okay, so opportunities and progression routes. So I wanted to put in, this is a quote from Angela Feely. She was your group, was she? Or the year, a cycle after. This is a student, and this is what she wrote about the course. The online learning option of the part-time BCom allowed me to balance work and family commitments. It gave me the opportunity to further my education. The course developed my business acumen, provided intellectual knowledge and insight into business principles and practices. The knowledge developed throughout this course provided me with sound business judgment, common sense in delivering results, strategic thinking, and long-term planning. I've achieved a first-class honours degree, which enabled me to advance my career to senior buyer planner in Boston Scientific. So I think what a student says, and Kieran will go on to that, says a lot more than what I can say. What I did see with students who have completed the course before is that one of the key things that seemed to happen is that it built confidence in the students' knowledge, and that they were more able to, if there was a promotion going at work, it's like, yeah, now I feel I have the qualification and I have the confidence to go for that. I have the information I need. In addition to progressing your career or changing your career path, you might be interested in postgraduate opportunities of perhaps doing a higher diploma or maybe a master's after that. And if you're interested in specializing, that would be an interesting route. The only thing I would say is that the postgraduate studies, the only option that is not available to you through the part-time BCom is accounting, mainly because you need to have completed, I think it's around 80 credits in accounting to go on to the master's, and as I mentioned before, the part-time program doesn't have that. So I'm going to stop there, and this is just the application link. Kieran is going to talk a bit about his experience.
Okay, I'll try and make it brief. I suppose what you've covered there really triggered an awful lot of stuff for me. So where do I start? It's 4 years. I would say that a few things triggered me there. First thing is, even though you're studying on your own, you're very much part of a learning community. And even though you're online, you're doing it at home or in the car or whatever, coming to the campus and get part of the university life, because otherwise you missed a great opportunity. The library is excellent. The online stuff that you can use within the library, all that kind of stuff gets you more immersed into college life, and that's very much a part of it. Now, obviously, you won't be going to the rag balls or whatever, but it's just get immersed in that, because actually that'll actually bring you on further than just learning on your own. Great, make the opportunity to get study groups going, and that's just meeting once a month or once a week or whatever's comfortable for you, in order to be able to give out or share knowledge or whatever, but you need that interaction.
Can I just say, I mentioned this at the beginning of that, although the on campus, you don't have to attend for anything, but the induction day I think is really important for that. And what I see with the online learners, we have a BA group that's coming in after. They meet once a month and they go for pizza and pints. And it's very much of like, how are you getting on with that? And they might, some of them, one girl travels down from Donegal, someone else, you know, they're traveling from different places. They choose a location, they socialize, they catch up, they have a WhatsApp group, they really support each other. Because life events are going to happen to you, like a bereavement, a birth, something that you're going to miss something, and you need, we'll be here to support you, but you also need your peers.
Yeah, and it helps you put faces to the names and see on the discussion board, because that's really the core of what you're doing to interact with the lecturer and with each other. As regards, you know, deciding whether you should do the course or not, the timing is really bad for you. Oh, don't do it. That's the excuse you hear the whole time. Everything that could have happened in my life happened in those 4 years. I had a child. I commuted from West Clare up to here. Any excuse that you could need not to do it was there. But honestly, you should do it because the timing is now, and you should take that opportunity. As regards to learning, you mentioned it was broad, but I felt that it was well-rounded, because when I qualified, it gave me the opportunity to specialise in different areas, and you pick up subjects that you'd never studied before. There's a subject called services marketing, which was how to market services. Never knew how to do that, and now every time I'm in a hotel or I'm in an airline, I'm going, oh, that's the service marketing, and that's tangibilising the experience, and so your brain comes alive with these new subjects. Again, you alluded to that there's no specialist in accounting. There's an awful lot of accounting in the course, so thank God you can't specialise, because you had enough of it by the end of the 4 years. And there will be subjects that you will fall madly in love with, and it will surprise you, or you know, subjects that you had an interest in. Or don't forget, you're mature students, so you've had life experiences, and so suddenly a subject that you kind of know about will completely flourish, because you can add your real life experiences to it. There'll always be subjects that just don't suit you, and where you may lack ability, you have to get a passion by it and put all your heart and soul into it, because you have to overcome these subjects, and you'll meet these pebbles along the way in those 4 years where they're just not for you. Subjects then that you think you're going to be awful in, like maths and statistics, you end up doing really well on, because you overcompensate. I'm going to really fail this. This is going to bring me down, and you work extra hard and you get a good result. And so you'll surprise yourself the level of tenacity that you'll have, and that's what all these kind of soft skills that you bring after the 4 years. So yes, you know, for example, I was in a scenario where I had a detailed conversation about the foreign direct policy of China into Africa. I didn't know I knew that information, but someone triggered me, studied it, and so suddenly you almost become an intellectual by the way the course is designed, and they've designed it so well that there's a method in their madness. 1 or 2 semesters appear quite full, but when you get through that, you get that full learning curve. Oh, that's how you get over a big situation. The study groups are great for, you know, or for the group assignments. It's great when you actually get a bad group, because you actually learn more of how to get around
It's great to hear him say this now. He
wasn't saying that. A few missing MIAs, a few missing actions when you have a group assignment. And so what I'm saying, you actually learn more about yourself, which is quite remarkable, even though the course is quite detailed. And you know, don't be concerned about the fact that it's 4 years, or don't be concerned that there's so many subjects on that list. Just take one semester at a time. And there, you know, what NUIG do is they give you the tools. So I never had the tools first. So I might have had the intelligence, the ability, or whatever. I never had the tools. So I could say to him, go up now and study for 8 hours a night and you'd be a doctor. But when you go up to the room, how does he study? He doesn't know. He doesn't know his learning style. You learn the learning style. Some subjects you need visual or to talk to someone about it. Some you just need to practice over and over again. And so you learn different styles with different subjects. And all that skill set then you bring out to the real world. And, you know, I found that in my year that graduated, a lot of us wanted. Don't forget, we did the course during the recession, so we were taking a bet that we were hopefully there was nothing happening career-wise, and so we all said, right, everyone seemed to be not really sure where we're going to go in this life, and so the economy's picked up now. Out of my class of 57, I think 30 passed the finish line. and there's one guy doing a master's in project management. One is actually studying to be an accountant. There is exemption when you say accountant. There is different bodies, so you might have more exemptions for management accountant than audit accountant. But there is only one girl is qualifying to be an accountant. There was one girl was from Hungary. English is not her first language. She got a first. There's a guy from Spain. English is not his first language. Got a first. So you actually take great strength out of seeing other people go through it and going, wow, well, Jesus, if he can hardly speak English and he's coming up with the essays or whatever, it just goes to show you. And I suppose to put it into one thing, has anyone here climbed Poor Patrick? Okay, that's my analogy of what the course is like. Because you've heard other people do it and you look, oh, it doesn't look too bad. And you look up and go, oh, I'm never going to get up there. That's ridiculous. And what you do is you take one step at a time. And we learned in the very first semester, how do you eat an elephant? In small pieces. That is my mantra now, because nothing overwhelms you now. And it's like that with the confidence and the confidence that you have internally. You get so much more intrinsic value out of everything because you can apply it because of the broad nature of this course. So don't be put off, really by the end of fourth year when you get to specialise or you have the option to do it, you really know, actually it's a process of elimination, you know what you don't like. And so, like for example, applied economics was an option. I knew that was the one to stay away for me, whereas other guys did it. And a lot of people changed their career in the last 2 years because of it. And so, if you're looking for change, looking for growth, if you don't know what you're looking for, they'll give you the answers. And so, in your head now, you're wondering, should I do it or not? The questions I had, by the time I was halfway through it, I told a different range, a set of questions. I had better questions. And so all I can say is it was a life changer for me and from all my class that did it. And, it is hard work, but hard work doesn't kill you. And you learn that. And, the subjects that we did, some of them were just phenomenal. I couldn't stop reading about certain subjects. And there was international management. Oh, I could read it for months. I loved it. And then some subjects I just had to suffer. Market research didn't suit me. And I just had to grin and bear it and get down. And the statistics book is about that size, so to put you off altogether. But you get into it. I learned how to use a scientific calculator. So the full spectrum of what we learned. And we made some good friends out of it as well. But again, it is more difficult because you're not in direct contact with each other the whole time. But you'll become a very tight, close-knit community, whatever that means, when you're online. And what's lovely is that you can, when you're busy or there's a child crying or whatever, you can pause the lecture, which I couldn't do. So
yeah, when Kieran was doing it, it was blended learning, so he came once a month. We have just 3 minutes left before our next session starts. Thanks a million. That was, I do think a student talking about his experience is a bit more honest than I want you all to come, but you have to figure out, is it for you? One thing I would say, this is 45 credits per year. A full-time student does 60 credits per year. So come in with your eyes open. It's hard work. This is hard work. It is a part-time course, but you need to come in with full commitment that you can organize your life to give 2 hours a day for at least 4 days and then a half day. And if you can keep on top of your workload, you'll be successful. But if your life is at a point where you can't give that now, I'd be inclined to say, wait until you do. And I just want to be completely honest, because when you come to me in October and say, I didn't think there'd be this much, it's like, well, I did tell you that that's it.